Dude, well, actually, I think the guy ended up like going to jail. Yeah, he did this for him, got it there, went to Oklahoma to like finish another job and got like arrested for something.
Welcome to POOL-ology's Pool Pod. First episode, got to do it big. We've got a special guest here, Walker with Avree Custom Pools. And we've got our designer, Malik, here. Y'all may have known him as the Riz King, Riz God. I don't remember anything.
Trying to grow up from that eventually.
Eventually. Baby steps. Some of y'all are already familiar with Malik, so I'll go ahead and let Walker introduce himself first.
How's it going, guys? I'm Walker. I work for Avree Custom Pools. We are a designer down south near the Galveston area. I've been designing pools now for about 5 years. Absolutely love what I do. I've grown into the pool market. I was kind of a pool market baby, and I've grown up with it, seeing all the changes and just being able to help people over the years. I've really fallen in love with what I do. I fell in love with the whole process from design to watching people jump in the swimming pool for the first time. So, yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you, Corbin. Thank you, Malik, for having me, and super excited to do something like this with you guys.
Glad to have you. And for people that don't really know Malik, and I guess you don't really know Malik's backstory, I'll let Malik
we chatted a little bit
as well. So
kind of piggybacking off, I was a baby as well coming into the pool industry, knew absolutely nothing. But I'm on the design and sales side now. Been with POOL-ology, wrapping up year 3. It's been pretty awesome. Just the people you get to meet. Look what we're doing now,
right.
It's the same thing, man. I tell everybody, it's always, I don't know how you feel, but the husbands, a lot of times are always the push for me.
Yep.
But it's always the first picture I see is the husband like chilling in the pool. So
yep.
I love kind of like breaking through with customers, like those hard, like, oh.
They're always the ones that don't want it, but then they love it.
Exactly, man.
It's done.
It's like the puppies, it's like, we're not getting that dog.
And it's their dog after. It's like, exactly. Yeah, okay.
Same thing with pools, man. So, it's awesome to kind of get to go through that and just, bring, a lot of excitement and joy to a family's backyard, not for just one time, but
that's why we do it.
Summers to come.
So you said you were a baby coming in.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this? What was your kind of intro to the pool business?
So I'm one of the younger people that you find in the pool industry. I actually started in the pool industry digging ditches for Avree Custom Pools. I was out there in the rain with the shovel. They paid me $250 a week, and that is how I got my start in the pool industry.
Earned it.
At the time, I was going to college. I was going to be a doctor. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew I wanted to be something in the medical field. That's what my dad did. It's what a lot of my family members did. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do something like that. Then I realized I'm not cut out to be anywhere near a hospital and save people's lives. I'm like too high stress for me. And, man, I can't golf whenever I have to do that. So I was like, man, got in there, and I just started meeting so many people. And believe it or not, the people that made me fall in love with the pool industry was, yes, the clients are great. Yes, my coworkers are great, but the contractors.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, like my relationship with them when I first started was the thing that like pushed me over the edge. And it's like, okay, now I'm getting invited to birthday parties and baby showers. I'm like, I really like these guys. So I was like, let me stick with it. Let me put a little more effort in. It was supposed to be just a part-time thing. I started cleaning pools on my own. I had an 8-person route. That was like the most grueling thing for me ever because I have no idea how to take care of pools. That's why whenever I hear y'all and y'all are like, yeah, we service a bunch of pools, I'm like, kudos to the guys out there doing it. I don't think clients know how hard that is to keep a massive body of water like that balanced. So it's a lot. So I started doing that, and then I started building pools, which I built about 3, and then I realized I'm not cut out for that either. And they were like, and my brother-in-law was like, "Man, let's get you designing." And he was like, "The clients love you." I would be out there, and their projects would just be like, something would be wrong, and they're like, "Just don't get mad at Walker." And he's like, "Why would I not get mad at him? He's the one that messed it up." And they're like, "But we love him so much," and I was like, well, I love you, so hey. And he was like, well, let's get you designing. So that's when I started designing. And man, I'm telling you, I kicked off. He was like, the biggest concern was at that time I was 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
And going into that industry and talking to adults who are knowledgeable, and at the end of the day,
$100,000,
second largest investment that people are typically making in their lifetime, first being their home. Yeah. It's a big thing. And so my biggest thing was, okay, I'm young. I'm in an industry full of older people, which I'm sure you guys have run into. Yeah. How do I go in there and give that professional persona And not only that, let these people know that I care about them more than anybody else. I'm going to take care of them better. So that was the biggest hurdle for me. But I got in there and just walked in there with an honest and transparent look, and man, I ran with it.
Yeah.
So I love it. I've been able to grow with the industry and seen a lot of crazy stuff happen. Went through the freezes in Texas where, I mean, I was out in the truck all day for the freeze. Couldn't even be able to get a pool running. I'm out there scraping. Never forget, I'm out there scraping shear descents with the ice pick just to get them to run down south. And I'm like, oh, this is a nightmare. But have a lot of cool stories. I love the industry for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That's definitely giving you like a different aspect from it. You know, I'm sure, like you said, loving your contractors and stuff, they probably love you as much just because, you know, you've been in there doing it with them. So our guys probably feel the opposite. Like I lean on like
I was about to say he lucked out making those early on connections with contractors, and you're like, hey, Kevin, can you call so-and-so and get him back out here? So they were probably just a phone call away. They maybe 2 or 3 phone calls.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You definitely lucked out. Kind of you earned your stripes. You worked your way up from the bottom.
I definitely did. Yeah, that's for sure.
And that's similar to how Pool-ology is. You know, like most people don't just get dumped in design. You kind of got to work your way up. So, and that's honestly, I think that's what all pool companies should do. That way, you can learn all of it.
Exactly.
I mean, because if a guy doesn't know what to add to get rid of algae or, you know, little things like that, I mean, knowledge goes a long way. Like you said, especially for you being a younger guy, if you just show that, like, hey, I know at least half of what this 50-year-old knows, then you're already starting off ahead.
For sure. For sure. And I feel like a lot of it's that energy you bring, right?
100%,
yeah. I feel like that has just been like the norm in the pool industry over the past 10 years. It's like we're guys like us, we're a dime a dozen out there in the pool industry right now, you know, because we wake up every morning, we're passionate about what we do. We love our clients, and we're like, how can we get better each and every single day that we're doing this? And what I ran into was so many people in my area were like, your typical 40, 50-year-old guy, they walk in the backyard and they're like, I'll get you a free form pool. It's going to be a 40 by 20. And he gets out. And I'm like, hey, nothing wrong with that by any means. But I'm more motivated to get you something more and listen to the details. If you've got a little one at home, okay, great. Let me try to install some preventative measures so they're not walking in the backyard when you're not there, and they're safe whenever they're back there, right?
And that way they're getting a true custom product. They're not just coming here picking out a shape, you know what I mean? Anything like that. So, I mean, when I first got into, I mean, y'all know this, that I used to do design. When I first got into design,
some say you were the best.
You know, I'll take my flowers. I'll take the flowers. When I first got in, there was still a company around here in town. They were still doing all their designs on pen and paper.
Oh, yeah.
Still doing it. I mean, they're still around today. I think they've gotten a little more with the time, but they've been around forever. They've been around forever. When I first got into designs, like, I was on the computer.
They're still
and they were
right off 35, dude.
And I was doing them on the computer, and these guys were still doing it pen and paper. I mean,
they built Chubb's parents' pool.
If it works, it works. But I mean, you've got to move, keep up with the times.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, some clients don't know. Like, I don't know if y'all ever run into this. I'll walk into people's backyard. It's like one thing I like to do is YouTube videos, and I love it.
Yeah,
right?
we saw the video stuff.
Whenever I design a pool, I'm like, hey, I'm sending you the YouTube video because it brings it into real time, and they get a feel of, okay, this is me walking out my back door. This is me walking around the pool.
That right there.
And
send videos, custom. I'm telling you, I'm a video guy too, man. That's the game changer.
It's huge. It's huge because how else are you going to know how to use that space unless you put it in a first person view?
Exactly.
I can show you pictures from 30 feet above your house all the time, but you're never going to be up there. Fingers crossed, you're never going to be up there. So, you know, doing that and just, I run into some clients who are like, I read it they handed me a pamphlet and just said, hey, this is a 20 by 40. I'm like, yeah, but they didn't design it or nothing? They're like, no. And I run into that still to this day, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like, not necessarily that wrong, just, you get your dinosaurs in the industry still, and they've earned their stripes. They can hang out. But definitely the industry has changed quite a bit.
What do you see the most in, you know, the most motivators, and what are people getting the most excited about when it comes time to finally sign that contract?
For sure, man. For me, I mean, I think it kind of just ties in. It's everybody wants you go on vacation, you try to get around water. You go somewhere, you want to be around water, and so people want to bring it to their backyard. And really for me, I think people they want to do it for their family, especially the little ones, grandparents, for their grandkids, parents a little bit, that have kids probably 5+. I think that's where that real market kind of starts driving. I think it's just because people were tired of packing stuff up and going down to the community pool, paying $50 to go to the water park down here, whatever it might be. But I think people just especially during COVID, I think COVID kind of brought it to people like, man, like what happens if this happens again? I want something in my I don't want to be sitting at home. I don't want my kids running around all day, dude. Like,
please go,
dude. Yeah, my daughter's a year and a half and she's in that like prime
she's getting
dude. So I couldn't imagine having 3, 4 or 5 year olds. That would incentivize me to go get a pool right there. So
I don't know how you and Danielle do it because y'all have 4 dogs too, right?
I know 3 now, man. R.I.P. to Grace. Dude, dogs. Having the dogs is probably like having 3 dogs is equivalent to 2 more kids.
Yeah.
So I got 3
big
kids.
dogs.
They're a little more.
They're Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix, so they're not they're not huge, but I mean I gotta feed them. Exactly, I gotta feed them every day. I gotta walk. I gotta play them. They're not as independent.
You're right.
I'm not changing diapers, but
who was the one that made the dog decision? You or the
man? So I had mom, my wife had dad,
Yep.
and just they got together twice and had 2 litters of puppies, and we kept one each time. The first time she actually had 1 puppy, so couldn't get rid of her. So ended up keeping her, and then the next time for some reason we kept another one, and then we had a pack.
I'm glad you brought up COVID. Do y'all feel like COVID kind of changed the dynamic of the pool business as a whole?
I came in right at the back end of COVID into the industry, people still talk, people still I think it's still in the back of people's minds for sure. If something like that happened again, I want to be, I want to have something to do. I don't want to be, stuck in the house.
Yeah.
What about you? Were you already selling and everything once COVID hit?
I was already there.
Okay.
I will tell you, I think COVID flipped the whole pool industry upside down.
Yeah.
Just from my point of view, because, I don't know how it was up here, but down in Houston, it was like, you're crossing your fingers and praying that you can get 2 gun night shoots a month.
Yeah.
And so right then and there, it's like, okay, number one, they're at home with their kids and they're like, okay, I got to do something to tire you out or entertain you.
Yeah.
Well, let's build a pool because you're driving me crazy now. And so back then, though, pools before COVID, really, they weren't carrying the same amount of value that they do now.
No.
Right? They didn't cost as much, and everyone's like, well, why do pools cost as much? I'm like, look at how much your groceries have gone up. That's the same thing we're doing. They're like, I bet you're making a ton of money. And I'm like, we're making actually probably less than what we used to. I was like, but it's just the cost of living went up, and so did all of our materials.
Yeah.
And so I think that was definitely a challenge that we ran into, was material costs going up.
Yeah.
And one thing about that, it was such a crucial moment in the pool industry because you had so many people coming in. And we kind of understood that once, everyone was, COVID was the best year to be a pool builder. It was. But we were kind of thinking, okay, what happens after?
Yeah.
Right? The people that you're building pools for, during COVID, everyone wanted a pool. So you really weren't tight-knit on referrals and things like that. Well, we always made sure to never take on more than we can, handle. And on top of that, treat our clients so we can continue the referral basis.
Yeah.
And what a lot of companies did is they were running and gunning. And what ended up happening in the long run is once COVID stopped, people started talking again. They started going to kids' birthdays and they started asking those questions. And I saw that hurt more builders in the industry than it did good.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that a pool builder can make is to take on more than your crews can actually handle. I mean,
do those people start waiting?
They start waiting.
They make that first finance payment?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. You better.
It happen. We see it happen all the time. Unfortunately, you do it so much that you can't pay your own bills. Company folds. So, and like I said, unfortunately, we see it happen all the time. For us guys that stick around, it's good for us, but it's not always good for the customer.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few in our area.
It's always sad to see another guy go out of business because it's like, it's morally. They always laugh at me because morally I'm kind of in the middle because I'm like, all right, easier competition now. But on the flip term, I'm like, that was a buddy. I know he built good pools.
Yeah.
He just made the simple mistake of he took on more at one time than he was built for. and in turn got himself deep into trouble. And I mean, it happens each and every day. We had another big builder drop out, I think it was like 2 months ago in our area. And
Really?
it stinks.
Okay.
Stinks. Definitely stinks.
Yeah. No, it's we've seen it here. We've seen it here too. So.
Yeah.
More than one time.
Yeah.
More than a few.
Yeah.
As y'all know, y'all are in the Galveston area. We're here in Central Texas. Obviously, cost of living is different there in each area. So what is y'all's kind of average pricing on most of your projects, you think?
So I always say it very much varies, but
Always.
my average project that I'm doing here, right, it's just the differences in the market. Down in League City and Houston, that area, we do a lot of patio covers. So on 90% of the pools I'm designing, building, we're doing pool, spa, patio cover, kitchen. So our average cost on most projects that we're designing and building right now is about $150, right? But that's also with 40, 50 grand in there of just patio cover work, engineering, things that it takes to get the project done right.
Yeah.
But on average, for a pool and hot tub, roughly about 85 to 95. But with all the add-ons and once it's all said and done, my average contract this year has been roughly about 130 to 150.
Okay.
How are you guys looking up here?
Yeah, our average pool that goes out across the sales team is about 110.
Yeah.
But one thing we've kind of found, so like our market, I think is priced a little bit higher than y'all's for sure. Like our like base pool spa, you're going to be about 105 to 115,000 for sure. So just between propane, we're running everything and just how it kind of gets there. So I think that would be some of the bigger difference is like y'all are probably priced more competitively or lower. Y'all's market is just a little bit lower than what ours is.
It's completely different. I mean, not only do they have in their area, I'm sure, more builders to choose from.
Yeah.
Y'all also have more contractors to choose from.
There's a lot of contractors. The one good thing about us is I don't know if y'all probably have heard about it. It's a certified building professional certification. But basically we have one of our project managers all of our project managers get certified with it. But kind of our background before Avree was even a thing, our owner came from the commercial world.
Okay.
And so he brought a lot of those commercial contractors with us. So we never had to hop into the pool of messing with the other contractors. And that's the one thing I hear all the time is, oh, I know your contractors probably doing work for other guys too. It's all the same contractors. I'm like, it's not, right? And I'm sure y'all can attest to it. You have your own contractors that you have that personal relationship with that make POOL-ology, just like we have ours that make Avree.
100%.
And I always tell people it's old Kobe Bryant comment, but it's that Mamba mentality, right? It's whenever you're together as that whole group and collective and you're all working towards a common goal, you can't be beat.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, you don't want to change up contractors.
Yeah.
Like, if you find a good one that can do what you need to do, and
hug them and hold them tight.
Yeah, dude, that's been the beauty of ours. Like, all the way up until Gunite, like our guys are like park here. Like, our excavation crew meets us at the layout meetings. Like when we're spraying pulls out. So it's kind of a relief. It's like, okay, like, hey, these guys that are the professionals that are doing it, are here. They're and I think customers kind of get that relaxed feeling too. So 100%, man, that brings a lot of value, being able to walk back here and our Mason Pete is, hanging out, like, yeah, dude, exactly. Man.
Yes.
Like, so there's a ton of value in that, man. And it's something that's kind of hard to drive home to customers because it almost sounds like you're whining, like, look, trust, but like it's surreal. It's really what it is.
And I feel like most people don't know, like, I mean, obviously Corbin and you do because you are both been in that design aspect and that sales aspect, but it's so hard because if you have a genuine love and just appreciation for your company, you try to really emphasize that to clients, and it's hard to do that without it coming off as salesy. So you're like, I got guys I use, yes, I love them, but everyone else is going to tell that person, man. So it's like, okay, how do I differentiate? And I mean, that's the biggest thing is, what is y'all's competition like up here? Because I know down in League City, we could throw a rock and hit a pool builder. So, I mean, how's the competition?
Yeah, we're definitely not, we probably have 4 other big competitors in the
Gotcha.
gunite area that are gunite world here, and honestly, in the fiberglass, there's probably 1 or 2. I think it's Aqua.
Fiberglass.
I saw the Aqua Pools right there. I was like, man, we're gonna have. They're trying to fight or something.
Dude,
What's going on there?
Yeah, man, they're a big national brand company.
Yeah.
Dude, they got pools from, y'all probably see them.
Oh, they got them down here in the city by us, on the way to Galveston.
Dude, yeah, they're all the way to Galveston, up to Waco.
I know they're up to Waco.
That exact same pool, like set up with like the cheesy little calm beach. Oh, dude, I'm like, I drive by it all the time every time I go to Galveston.
Probably 20 years old, has algae in the
It does, and I'm like, I mean,
you can at least get out there fresh.
Like,
come on.
Pay a high school kid $100, like you'll make his day.
Financing.
Yeah.
So how have you seen that kind of affect your sales as a whole? Do you see a lot more people doing financing these days? Kind of what's the difference? What's the motivator for people like, oh, I think I'm going to finance, and then the people that are like, oh, I'm just going to pay for it outright?
So I'll tell you right now with our custom builds and everything, we're about at a 70-30. 70% are really not financed and 30% are. More or less going into this whole entire change from COVID, that was, and I mean, I don't know how you think about it, Malik, but that was the biggest thing for me to get over was rates aren't 2.5 and 3% anymore. Now they're back up to 7%. People
they never will be.
They're never going back down. Like,
never going down.
If we go back down, guys, there's going to be a problem. It's like, and I preach that to my clients. I'm like, guys, if the interest rates go back down, the prices are going to go back
it's
up.
yin and yang. Yeah,
it's yin and yang,
yeah.
and it's. I try explaining that to people, and I'm like, they're like, oh, I can't pay a 6% interest rate, and I'm like, guys, in the grand scheme of things, like if you look over the past 30 years, 6% is way below the median
100%.
interest rate.
Our parents probably, when they bought their house, their interest rates were probably 9, 10. It's something that people aren't. Yeah, and I learned early on, man, because that was a big objection I was getting on the sales side. I was like, so I brought the finance conversation and the rates, all of that to the front. Like when I'm talking to customers at the front end, finance always comes up. So it's like, look, these are the companies we recommend. Rates are, if you have an 820 credit score and you make $125,000, you're going to get an 8%. That is what it is.
And high five because you're getting more
exactly
rates.
Exactly. So people, for us, I think right now the average is like 10 to 12% on interest rates. So it definitely has affected, because when you start plugging in like prices on a loan calculator, $100,000 at 10% is like $1,000 payment, and if you go like a 2%, that's like like a $400 payment. It's wild. So
the biggest thing, and this is what I found helps me more than anything. So I just recently built my pool. I didn't finance it, but I put myself in the shoes that if I were to finance it, just because I work for the company, I have, like I said, I have good relationships with contractors. They owed me a lot of favors from when I used to mess up stuff, and they'd patch it for me. So somehow they owed me favors.
Nice.
But no, they helped me out, and I was able to do it without financing it. But most of my clients, whenever they're going through that finance path, I have to have that conversation of, are you really going to be here for 30 years, right? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, okay. And so I really break it down in the cost of, okay, so you're maybe $600-700 a month, and say that's the low end. Top end, you're $1,000. So you pay $12,000 a year to have this pool. If you were to sell it tomorrow, pools are not carrying, and that goes back to your COVID question earlier. Pools now are carrying typically like 82% of their actual value back out of the home sale. And on top of that, they're making homes sell like down there. I don't know how it is up here. If you have a pool down in Houston, you're selling within like 15 days.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's what I tell people. I try not to drive a lot of like the value side, but I tell people, if there's a home in your neighborhood and you have a pool and they don't have a pool, your home will sell first. Like that's that's just, especially people moving to Texas, it's way too hot. It's too hot as I'm wearing a jacket.
Right.
Kind of sweating in here, but
especially in our area being so close to the military base,
dude,
we have people coming out of state to Texas, and the first thing they think is, I don't want to deal with a Texas summer.
Yeah.
So what better way?
Or they deal with one.
Yeah, or they deal with one and they're like, okay, we need to build our own pool. Or they move here and they're like, I'm not moving into a house without a pool. Let's talk my bread and butter, marketing. So, as y'all know, I am the pool guy. Marketing. We're unique at Pool-ology. We do all of our marketing in-house. How have you seen, how long ago did y'all implement doing marketing in-house? And how have you seen that change y'all's company as a whole? And has it Has it increased your sales? Do you see those coming from Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be? How have you seen marketing kind of change your sales process and your company as a whole?
I'll tell you this, and I don't think, and I'm going to give a huge shout out to Brandon Grace. Like, he's the reason I'm here, because without him, y'all would have never met me. Like, I would have just been wandering around League City doing what I always do. But I'm telling you, like, having him come in, Brandon's been with us a year now. And we had, when he first came in, we had no Facebook presence, no Instagram presence. I didn't even know how to film half of the stuff, right? Because everyone at the company always messes with me. They're like, man, you were just an old soul trapped in a young body. I'm like, I am, right? But I don't know how to operate those things. And honestly, no one else was, because we're so busy trying to give our best service to the clients. When we brought in Brandon, it's like, okay, now we're at the Astros Stadium shooting videos.
Dude,
now
yeah.
we're doing
Talking
all
about
these
the
crazy,
side,
like, coming up here and meeting you guys, and like just meeting a good group of guys that we can say, hey, we got boys in Belton. Like, if we ever run across people, hey, I got my boys up in Belton, they can help you out. Like, things like that. It has just brought our presence way up.
Oh, yeah.
Facebook leads are out the wazoo, so are Instagram, TikTok. The guys behind the cameras, and I was telling Brandon this the other day, the guys behind the cameras make absolutely more difference. I know you're in front of it a lot, so huge shout out to you. But my guy is really not in front of the camera a whole lot, but Brandon has flipped our whole industry upside down and has elevated the way we build by a long shot, for sure.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, we're pretty much the same, man. I love nothing more than when I'm stepping in a customer's backyard and they're like, I saw a video of you.
Yeah,
you know, like, you know, dude.
It makes you feel good.
Dude,
Like,
yeah,
I bet you did.
I'm telling you, especially me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure for you, in our area, it's either I've seen your trucks or I've seen your Facebook.
Yeah,
videos.
that's exactly what it is, man. And it's definitely like, I mean, just this year alone, this year's blown up for me. You know, it's been one of my best sales years. And
That's awesome.
We brought marketing in-house 5-6 months ago. Yeah, right at the beginning of the year.
So I got brought on before the other guys. I was just doing a lot of stuff myself. We did have another marketing company we were working with. We dissolved that and then kind of brought it all in-house.
Best way.
Yeah.
You pay them so much money, and the return on it is...
And it's so nice to walk down here. You know, they were messing with it earlier, but you know, just to have that, like, that open line with our marketing
Just
team,
demand
you know,
it.
exactly, you know, just like walk down and like, hey, dude, just the back and forth of like, hey, this might not be working. This is what we're seeing, what they're seeing, you know, because like what's a qualified to them is different, you know, to everybody else, you know, so just to align on the same page and, you know, just to have that, I think is the biggest thing.
It's a complete difference having people that you pay and look at you as, hey, he's just a paycheck for me.
Yeah.
And let me do what I can do just to stay off his radar and keep getting paid, versus like the guys behind the scenes who are like, they're committed. They're
setting up the cameras.
They wear the
They're doing
brand
it.
on their
Yeah.
back, right? And they believe in it and their family. And it's like, you know, like y'all heard me earlier messing with B. I'm like, take notes, Brandon. I call him B. By the way, I always mess with B, and you know, we just have so much banter, kind of like you guys did. And it's good to see that environment, because you can really tell like these guys believe in what we're doing here, and that is why I feel like we are growing so much along with y'all, and that's why. Obviously, right, the two marketing guys were like, okay, they're doing the same thing we're doing. We're both doing something right. Let's collab together and let's see how different our worlds are.
Yeah. We're going kind of long on time, so I'm going to skip over to the horror story question. Everybody has one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what field you're in, you've got a horror story. So I know Malik, so I'm interested to hear, what is the biggest, most memorable customer or construction horror story that you've seen?
Man, so I had this guy, and I don't know if he was new into money or what it was, but very, very like just abrupt and just kind of not the nicest guy you ever met. But hey, it's part of it, right? I get it. We're all stressed. So I tell everyone, I'm like, we cannot afford to make a mistake on this pool. Like, we have to go through, we have to get it done. I get it, mistakes are going to happen. Yeah. I promise you guys, whether you build a pool with Pool-ology, with Avree, with anyone else, we are going to make a mistake on your pool somewhere. 100%. We ask for a little bit of grace because we are putting something in the ground that's not supposed to be there. I always
Mother Nature always wins. Mother Nature, if she wants to win, right now, look at this.
Yep.
Imagine holes that are dug.
Oh, yeah. You're getting cave-ins and everything. Yeah.
Like, you know, so 100%.
But we start breaking ground on this guy. Sure enough, this happens. So caving happens. So he's like, hey, man, I just wanted to let you know we caved in, and I'm not too happy about it.
There wasn't rebar in there yet, was there?
There's rebar. So we had dug the pool. So we dug and sealed because we knew there was rain coming.
Yeah.
Here's how bad it was. We even flashed it.
Oh, really?
We flashed an inch thick of gunite on the whole pool.
Still can't.
He was up against a deadman, like a whatever you call it, for the water.
Yeah.
And it ended up somehow just pushing the pool in, and we're like, oh no. And so he's like, hey, I had a cave in. So I'm thinking, whatever.
No big deal.
We flash the pool. I may have to bump out some steel, cut out some steel, and then put up some plywood to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And I go out there, and half the pool's gone. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
You did cave.
Next day, we go ahead and we start getting it all patched up. He's back happy, and we finish out because of some of the cave-ins. We had to dig down a little deeper. I mean, dude, we didn't even dig down another 6 inches. Water level is right there, and so the water table just starts coming up into the pool, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. I'm like, somebody get a sump pump and get the gunite through here now. And so we have a sump pump in. We're sumping water back out into the ocean. And he's like, what's going on? What did y'all hit? There's a pipe that's broken. I'm like, no, that's your water table. And he's like, what is that? I'm like, see where the water is right there? We're in Galveston. There's always a water table. Once we hit that water table, we're in trouble. And he's like, okay. So we start going and going and going. And so we finally get the pool shot. I'm like, okay, cool. Rest of the way is cruise control, right? We did the 2 hardest. I don't know what it is, and I mean, maybe y'all can speak from experience too. When it rains, it pours with clients. Like,
It just keeps coming.
If I look and I'm like, you're going to be a tough client to build for, but I would love the challenge, and I make one mistake, like everything's going to go wrong. Yep. And then because once you make one mistake, you're like, okay, now you're going to micromanage.
Yep.
And micromanage, you make 30 times the mistakes because it's like you're worried about all these little things. So we get the pool done, we get shot with gunite, everything, and then they're like, we want to add turf. Added a whole travertine deck. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. And so I'm out there saw cutting. We install the turf. Client looks at me and they're like, you should pay for that. And I'm like, huh? And they're like, well, it's caused delays to my project. And I'm like, you had 2 weeks of delays because you changed your project.
It's called a change order.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. So basically we go back and forth. So then I'm like, okay, whatever. I got her to sign off. She paid, or he paid, and then we get going. Last day, pool's done. We started up, everything. And so we're like, great, we're done. I go home. I get a call probably 3 hours later from him. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm like, just put on a happy face. And so I'm like, hey, and I'm not going to say his name because if he watches this, he's going to know exactly who he is. I'm like, hey, John, right? How are you? And he's like, the pool is flooding. The pool is flooding. I'm like, your pool doesn't flood. So what's wrong? So we accidentally tied in the pool return. One of my plumbers wasn't paying attention because he was getting micromanaged. Tied in the pool return to the skimmer because we were doing one of the Venturi skimmers.
Oh yeah.
So he goes to open up a valve, and the skimmer lid shoots like 10 feet into the air. No. And I'm like, I walked out there and I'm like, yeah, there shouldn't be a valve there. And I'm like trying to just play it off. I'm like, we just got to get this fixed. So I called my plumber, Rudy, and I'm like, you have to get here, dude. Like, you plumbed in the return to the skimmer. He's like, oh, senor, it's my bad. I'm like, I know, but I need you here. And he's like, he goes, send me a video right in front of the client. I FaceTime. And I'm like, please, Rudy, just be professional. Because I love Rudy to death. Him and his sons are my favorite. I'm showing him a literal video of what's happened, and he starts crying, laughing on the phone. He's like, I don't even know how that happened because it's shooting like 5 feet in the air. And I'm like, and the client's like, this is just ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, we're gonna get fixed. We got it turned around in like 3 minutes or like 30 minutes. We had it fixed, and then
it's not that big of a deal to you.
No, but to them,
into the world.
So I had to like tell them like, hey, there are no emergencies in the pool industry.
No such thing.
Like, I promise you, if something's bad or broke or whatever, we will get it fixed. But it's all in due time. We got to make sure we're taking the right steps. So then we leave from there. Next thing I know, there was a leak somewhere on the pool. We had a rough plumbing section with this pool. And this is like never happened. So now all of a sudden the pool's leaking. And he's like, my pool's dropping a bunch. And I'm like, was it splash out or evaporation? Yeah. And he's like, no. So we fixed the leak. I come out and I did the dye test, saw where we're leaking. We're leaking from, it wasn't even a return. It was a skimmer. The skimmer box got cracked throughout it, so it's leaking. Get that repaired. And then to wrap it all up, we're sitting there and he's like, And then for the next 8 months, I had to hear about my pool's leaking.
That always goes.
Great, here's what we can do. I was like, you want to really solve this? We can call a leak detection company of your choice. I said, if you're wrong, you pay for them. If I'm wrong, I pay for them. Deal? And he's like, deal. Comes up, not a leak. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like, have a great day. And I still, to this day, I cross my fingers and hope there's not one.
Please don't call me.
Yeah, no, that's real. Once there's one leak, they think there's a leak forever.
Oh, forever. There will always be a leak. Yeah. Let's hear yours.
Mine's Erica Parker. Yeah, man, she stepped in her backyard and she had half a container. When, you start thinking container pools, man, this was not like this was straight, like they pulled a shipping container, from a ship that had spray paint on it. They welded out half of it, and there was a top, and just left her hanging, dude. It was they dug it down. She had a 10-foot easement on the back fence. It was in the easement. This company took $30,000 from her and just dipped out. And so she calls me, and I stand in her backyard, and I was like, Erica, I'm not going to be the one carrying this this container out. I don't even know if we can do this.
I don't know how much it weighs.
Dude, yeah, she's in a 2-story house in Killeen, which is a tighter neighborhood. 5 foot of access on both sides. I was like,
how'd they even get it back there?
I don't know, man. I still to this day I don't know. But it was wild. And
if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast, please hit us up. I want to know how you got the shipping container back.
Dude, well, actually, I think the guy ended up going to jail. Yeah, he that was doing it did this for him, got it there, went to Oklahoma to finish another job and got arrested for something wild stuff. You can only imagine. Send us in the deets and we'll give you some commissary money. Yeah, man, it was. I sat back there, ended up getting her where we needed to be, and I took videos. And Joe, he runs our whole construction team. I was like, hey, you got to get out of here.
Yeah,
I can't make this decision.
I don't know what to even do.
I can't make this decision.
It's tough trying to touch a pool that's already been touched,
dude.
And we have to.
And it happens
all the time.
with the companies here that have shut down and stuff. Yep. We've probably finished 40 pools that are.
We've done a lot.
That were not started by POOL-ology.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so never fun. It's never. It comes back to the well, this pool is already a gunite. Is that really my fault?
Yeah, and you feel bad for the customer. So exactly. Then you as a company, you end up taking it on because you want to help them out. So then your margins of profit are smaller,
yep.
But you don't.
There's more problems with the project because you didn't start it.
Exactly.
You're opening up.
Equipment's usually sitting right there. Equipment's usually already there, not plumbed in, half plumbed.
See, y'all's guys are doing better than mine. I walked into one the other day and it was a concrete contractor who said he knew how to build a pool. He ended up digging a 30-foot tanning ledge, and I'm like. Okay, and I'm like, and what is this? And they're like, this is our tanning ledge, but some of this is going to be deck. And I'm like, then why did he dig it? And I'm like, because it wasn't the ramp. He ramped on the other side of the pool. And I'm like, okay, so I start looking into it, and by the end of it, it's all the walls were straight cut. There was no notch, no nothing. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. And he had steel, just thrown in the pool, like how you do for columns, or bar stools.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like. And I was like. Oh, and I was like, ma'am, I'll be honest. I said, I've never really said this. I said, but I would just have to rip everything out and just start completely from new. And she was like, really? We just don't have the money? I was like, I'll do it at cost because, she was 70 years old. This was for her and her husband, their retirement. The husband, oh my goodness, it broke my heart. Started crying when I was out there. Was I thought I made the right decision for me and my family. And I was
and that's where, dude, you always feel so bad because they feel so taken advantage of. And it's this I always try to take off the sales hat and at that time,
Just go give them a big hug.
I'm look, we are human here, so.
Not to knock the concrete guys. Concrete, you guys are great at what you do, but you're not pool guys.
Stay out of the pool industry. Stay out of the concrete.
Yeah. Let's just move on to our last kind of question, what I had. How long have you been in sales? What did you do before Avree? How'd you get into it? We kind of know how you got into it, but were you always in a sales kind of oriented job, or were you just kind of me personally, I worked in a kitchen before I got into design.
You look like you could cook. You look like you could down on some grub. I like that. So I'm about to literally blow y'all's mind. I shaped cowboy hats before I actually built pools.
Really?
I shaped cowboy hats. Did it for 4 years throughout high school, everything. I I got in there. I was like 16, 17. I was like, man, let me ship cowboy hats. That'd be so cool. They're like, you don't know what you're doing. You're not touching anybody's cowboy hat. I'm like, fair enough. So I started selling boots. I worked at Cavender's, started selling boots, doing all this. And then I kind of transitioned into learning from this old guy. His name was Maury. I'll never forget him. He was the meanest old man you had ever met, but man, he had a heart of gold. Like, if he cared about you, he would show it in a mean manner, but he did. Like, he took me under his wing, showed me how to do every little bit of it. So I was like, all right, Maury. Well, Maury retired, and then they needed a new hat shaper, and I'm like, he taught me. And so I took over the whole hat shaping. I did that for years, shaped down at the Houston Rodeo.
Nice.
Went to Gary's hat store down there, messed around there. I loved it. But then hat shaping don't pay the bills. So I definitely had to leave that. I had to leave that. But
so somewhat of a sales background.
Somewhat.
You're still interacting. You still have that face-to-face.
I always have to talk to people.
Yeah.
I cannot be behind a desk every day not talking. Like, there's no way. I'm too much of a talkative person.
Yeah. And at least, so what I will draw one similarity is like you were selling something that someone doesn't necessarily have to have.
No, it's a luxury item.
Exactly. So, I mean, you're at least used to doing that.
Exactly.
Now, Malik, I know kind of what you did before, but they don't know. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, sales was probably like that's really all I've kind of done. You know, it hasn't always been a Pool-ology, but I mean, my first job, I was repairing windshields, walking up to little old ladies at Sam's, carrying their groceries. No, we were not pretty much. I wasn't wasn't fortunate enough to have like a brick and mortar. I was literally posted up at Sam's, like, hey, let me carry these groceries. Pull over here and let's call your insurance. So you talk about
like the kiosks, like they have in the parking lot, like the little kiosk centers. I got you. That's a grind.
No fault claims. Waive that deductible. Yeah, dude, you think it's hot in here? Like try to walk in all day. No, I'll give you that. But then from there, insurance. I was in the insurance industry for a while, and
you did basically sales.
Literally
stuff that people actually do need.
Yeah,
you need to fix your windshield.
You have to have insurance, and that was the nice dude. Like, it's like, hey, you have to have this legally. Like, here you go. So it wasn't a luxury item. So I had to learn to not sell out of your pocket.
Not sell out of your pocket. Selling, like you said, for a lot of people, the second biggest investment they're going to make in their entire lives. So.
And it's so hard because you sell them a picture, essentially. And you sell yourself and your company and your credentials, but at the end of the day, it's not something they can drive, touch, feel, or smell. Dude, tell everybody. It's the hardest thing in the world to sell something.
We tell everybody, too, like our sales team's kind of adopted it. Like, when we sell a pool, you're only telling a customer 25%. Like, they only know 25% of the pool. Like, you're not, like, they're not getting in down to the chemistry. They go through pool school and, that type of stuff, but, like, you're not going to have a PhD in water chemistry. You're not going to you're not going to know how to go out there and fix your mortar, all this stuff that goes wrong, So like it is hard to convince people to give you this much money without knowing less than half of what you're about to buy.
It is. It is for sure. It's a hard thing.
I love how Malik gets out of these questions for customers, but you apparently have done some pool chemistry, so you know a little bit. How do you kind of address these questions when those come up? When you're getting towards the finish line and the customers are kind of interested in their water chemistry as a whole, how do you address their questions, especially when they get into some technical things, when it comes to balancing all those chemicals out?
I say, hey, let me give you Trey's number. We have a guy at our company, Trey, love you, man. He goes out there, he balances all the water chemicals. They do our startup, our pool school, and also we are the warranty station for Hayweather, and so we run that out of there too. But I 100% I am out of those chemical days. Like I told you, I burnt up a heater to one burn.
Okay, so you're gonna love Malik's pitch to get out of it. So let's.
Dude, I got two, man. I always show the hands. Like I'm like, dude, come on. You really don't want me taking care of this. And then also you don't want
no calluses.
You don't want your car salesman changing your oil.
Exactly.
So there's a processes. Pool-ology, process.
Yep.
Let me get you to the right people.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much how I drive it home and just get out of that.
That's why
when he told me that, I was like, it was like a light bulb. When I was like, that's the best thing I've ever.
They never get mad. They're never like, it's like, they're like, you're right. You are right. Like
it was like a client the other day. She calls me and she's like, hey, I'm having, I'm not sure if the tile's supposed to look like this. Can you come check it out? I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm like, look, I love you. And I can look at it and be like, that doesn't look right. But I'm in the same shoes you are. Like, you need the people that are made to do the job to do the job.
Exactly.
And without them, the company don't run right.
Nope.
I think with that, we're ready to cut it. But if you take nothing else from this, just remember, concrete guys, stay out of the pools,
Stay in your lane.
and you don't want your car salesman changing your oil. So,
Amen.
Amen to that.
Again, big thanks for Walker and Avree
you,
for coming
guys.
and
Yeah,
joining
Walker,
us.
thank you, man. Thank
Man,
you.
it was a
guys.
pleasure. Thank y'all for having me out, and super stoked to do more stuff like this with you guys in the future.
Absolutely. Hopefully this rain clears up and we can get some stuff outside done today.
Absolutely.
We'll see what Mother Nature has to hold
We'll
for
see.
us.
She likes to win.
Again, can't wait. Maybe we'll do it again sooner rather than later. So